Good afternoon, everyone. This is Marin Hirsch from NetElixir, the sales manager here. We are very excited to do our next monthly webinar at NetElixir University. We're going to be discussing today how to plan a robust holiday search marketing plan with 3 actionable strategies. So just to give you quickly a brief background about NetElixir University, we were launched in 2012 with a vision of democratizing the digital marketing industry through exceptional knowledge and expertise sharing. So through our monthly webinars and an annual seminar, we hope to provide the tools and knowledge to help people become better search marketers. If you have any questions, feel free to tweet with hashtag NetElixirU and we'll answer them for you. And also we invite you to join our LinkedIn group, NetElixir University. So here's a quick background about Udayan Bose. He's our founder and CEO of NetElixir. He founded PartyBingo.com, and it has been a guest lecturer at the Johnson School of Management for Cornell University, the City University of New York, Baruch, as well as the Indian School of Business. So we're going to be covering, as we mentioned, 3 actionable strategies as far as building a robust holiday search marketing plan. So if you may not realize it, 70% of retail search advertisers do not have a holiday SEM plan that connects goals, strategic initiatives, and tactics. So what we recommend is using the GOST model to build holiday SEM strategies. And to explain the holiday strategy in detail, I'm going to pass it over now to Udayan Bose. Udayan?
Thank you, Marin. So I'll try to sort of put on my professorial hat and try to sort of explain you very quickly what the GOST model is. In the GOST model, the G and O stand for goals and objectives. So what it basically means is you need to start with a primary goal and a secondary goal. And when you sort of say primary goal, it is something which is very tangible. Let us say a X million dollar sales during holiday season. Secondary goal can be at probably an advertising spend to sales ratio of about 7%. S stands for strategic initiatives. Now at this point in time, we are sort of looking at it slightly on a broader sense. When I say broader sense, is don't really go into too tactical at this point in time. So it can be things like how can we grab more market share probably in a select few markets. How can we maximize the revenue from a certain set of product categories, etc. So S again stands for strategic initiatives. And then you have T, which stands for tactics. Now tactics is where the PPC part really sort of comes in. Should you be doing PPC? If you are doing PPC, what are the different sort of strategies for you to go ahead and conduct the PPC advertising? One of the things that we emphasize on at NetElixir is not to do a standardized one-size-fits-all PPC strategy, but actually apply a customized segmented PPC strategy based on your overall customer demographics, based on your product mix, etc. And I have an example as well, which I wanted to share with you just to really just to help you understand the concept of cost a little better. So this is an example of the GOST model, and this specifically what we are recommending is go ahead and apply this model to design your holiday marketing plans. So let us say the GOST model for SEM is generate $10 million in SEM revenues in the holidays, during the holiday season at an A by S or advertising spend by sales revenue ratio of 7%. Now how do you get this number? You get this number, let us say, by 3 very specific strategic initiatives that you have decided to sort of go after. The first one is derive 70% of the sales from the top 5 product categories. So it's a very product-specific, product-oriented strategy that you are that you're sort of opting for. The second one can be focused on top 5 states and aim to drive 40% of the revenue from them. The third is attack just one competitor and grab market share from that competitor. Now, for each of these strategic initiatives, you have a very specific tactic or set of tactics. So let us say if your strategy is derive 70% of the sales from top 5 product categories, the tactics would be or can be, identify star products using the ROI grid, which are your high margin, high velocity products as such. Build an SEM plan around these products, so have a very specific targeted SEM plan, a different customized SEM plan which targets a star product versus maybe a decision whether you need to really do any SEM for a low margin, low velocity product as such. When I say velocity, I'll just sort of clarify this a little bit. Velocity is how quickly are you able to turn around your product inventory completely. Or we have sort of simplified this or dumbed down this even to the next level, and we are saying that within a certain month, how many turns of a particular product do you have, how many units do you really sell of a particular product or product category. And then just go ahead and forecast product level revenues and A/S. So that was just a quick example. Focus on the top 5 states, have geo-specific campaigns, geo-targeted campaigns. We have seen, and we have actually sort of multiple cases to validate the point that you should always go for geo-targeting as a big strategy or a tactical initiative within your Google AdWords or Bing campaign, and ideally sort of select as to what are the top 5 states for you in terms of where you get the customers from or revenue from, and have very specific campaigns targeted towards these top 5 states. We have been able to realize an incremental 22 to 25% for clients such as Oneida, American Express gift cards, etc., just by adding on the geo-specific strategy. And then looking at the third strategic initiative, which is grabbing market share from competition, one competitor, identify just one competitor. I think that's a pretty big step, because in many cases, if you do not identify the competitor well or tightly enough, it's very easy for you to get defocused and really not really end up with anything which really impacts or threatens the competition. So that is just an example of the GHOST model. As Marin was mentioning, we would always start with a GHOST model to create your holiday search marketing plan. And what exactly do you do if your competitor is Amazon? Because I guess probably everyone's competitor is Amazon today. The first thing that we have seen, and may sound a little cliched, but we have seen it works, use your size to your advantage. Because for us, being small is being nimble. The second is, after identifying your star products, understand and assess as to how strong is Amazon in each of these products and product categories. During holidays, specifically for our research, Amazon has a very clear 80-20 promotional focus. So they probably understand and have analyzed your product mix very well, and understand as to what are the 20% of the products and categories which account for 80% of the revenues. And since they know as to that's where the money is for them, the big monies, they'll just go after those categories. But what about those long tail categories, which will be very profitable, but you may not be selling as much? Go ahead and focus on them. I mean, I had the opportunity, we were at the e-tail conference the last couple of days, and I had the opportunity to meet with some wonderful, wonderful companies. And they exactly use the same strategy, the long tail product focused strategy, to a huge advantage. And the final thing is go local. And I'll sort of share with you using the holiday calendar as to how exactly you should go local. Now, after the strategy, we move on to the next phase, which is called the execution. Now, as you really are busy executing the plan, 3 very basic things that we would want you to remember or keep in mind. The first one is analyze the search, traffic, and conversion trends for 2011 and 2012 holidays, basically the last 2 years. I think it's very important, and I can guarantee you that probably 1 in 1,000 company may probably be doing this trend research and trend analysis. Understanding which promotion worked well, what was the product mix, which was the most optimal product mix, learning from that, capturing those insights, and using that to really refine your campaign is a hugely important part of your entire holiday search marketing execution plan. The second is, I'll share with you a holiday calendar that we have built. Now, at NetElixir, we have been doing research, some substantial research on 32 large retailer campaigns, or I wouldn't say campaigns, accounts, to be more precise, AdWords and Bing accounts since August 2008. So this would be basically our 5th holiday season. And what we have been able to track literally on a minute-by-minute basis, or most like a real-time basis, and what are the different times when you can see spikes in the overall number of clicks, conversions, what are the key days, when does the CPC go up, go down, when do the people search, when do they really buy, etc. The third part is track SEM performance daily against predefined targets. And again, I'll share with you a very simplistic overall tracker, which I would very strongly urge all of you to really follow to ensure that your daily numbers are in line with the goals that you had set even before you started the holiday season marketing plan. So in terms of traffic patterns, let me explain you as to what I was trying to really emphasize. And I have shared an example for the consumer electronics industry. So what you need to do is track the clicks versus order trend. And I have started it a little early, the 15th October to 30th December 2012 and 2011. We have the number of clicks, we have the number of orders for both these years. A very interesting thing, if you really look at it, there is a 3-day lag. So when I say 3-day lag, we have been able to almost like correlate that from the time there is a spike in the number of searches for a particular keyword or a term to the purchase of those terms or those keywords or products, there is roughly a 3-day gap. So what does it mean in very simplistic terms is if your customer searches for your product today, the likelihood of that person buying your product is pretty high after 3 days or within 3 days. So do not ever ignore the latency impact, because some of the companies really sort of do a tracking almost like on a daily basis. During holidays, honestly speaking, people, at least at the initial phases when the spikes happen, take a bit of time to really make that decision. Later, though, the decision-making cycle becomes a lot faster, but initially that's something to keep in mind. One more interesting thing is, as we have seen, I mean, the red lines basically would signify that this is the 2011 3-day gap, and the black lines are basically the 2012 3-day gaps. As you can see, I mean, what we have been able to or tried to track is when do the spikes really start happening. So as you can see in 2012 clicks, the spike started happening roughly around the 17th or 18th of November, while the orders really started going up around the 20th of November. So actually the Black Friday weekend sales, interestingly, is now starting before Thanksgiving. Just about 3 years back, it was almost inconceivable that during Thanksgiving for people or retailers to really run aggressive promotions, but we are seeing it as a regular practice for the last 2 years. The second thing is equally important, and lot of companies do not really focus on this, is basically the post-Christmas sales spike. Now look at these things. I mean, this is for the consumer electronics industry. Look at the spike which happened on the 26th, 27th, and 28th of December, all the way almost till about 30th. The spike on the 26th is at least comparable to the spike that you saw on some of the very important dates, like let us say 18th of December or 19th of December, which is roughly about a week before Christmas. So there is no reason for you to relent and not really utilize or maximize the opportunity which is presented by the post-Christmas sales. Let me move on, and this is a holiday calendar. It's a little intense, so let me just start to explain you or try to explain you the basic concept of this calendar. Now all the sections marked in yellow, I would call them probably on a scale of 1 to 10. The overall holiday shopping intensity or the number of purchases which happen on that day probably are at roughly about 6 out of 10. All the orange labeled days, I would say that the intensity is roughly about 7.5 out of 10. All the days which have been marked in red are either 9 or 10 out of 10. So obviously the red marked days are the most important holiday shopping days in the United States. Now this time it's an interesting situation, and I don't really want to scare any one of you, but I think the reality is this is going to be the shortest runway to the Christmas since 2002. In the last 11 years, we have never really had such less number of days between Thanksgiving and Christmas. So effectively, what does it mean? You can definitely expect a more intense competition for the online shopper dollars than any previous year. The competition is going to be brutal. It's going to be very, very harsh. There are certain trends which basically we have tried to predict. I mean, and as you can see, the Thursday, the Thanksgiving day, we have sort of split it into about 2 halves. So the first half probably is marked orange because you'll see a fairly decent 7.5 out of 10 intensity of holiday purchases happening. Amazing. I mean, earlier like Thanksgiving used to be almost like one of the slowest with the online sort of a retail sales days. And since the last 2 years, we are seeing that this is like one of the top 5 shopping days probably in the entire year. The second half, I would probably say to be very specific, probably 1 p.m. onwards, you can see intense, all the Black Friday promotions to be out there already. So pre-plan to accommodate this overall promotional structure, which you can definitely expect this year. Expect more frequent promotional changes by large retailers, the variety effect. So this time understand that you have 25% less time compared to the previous 10 years to maximize your holiday sales. I mean, I can't really put that in a more emphatic way. I mean, you have 25% less time to do at least equal, if not more than what you did last year. So that basically means that either you go ahead and keep on driving intense promotions, which a lot of large retailers will do, but some of the smarter retailers, what they will do is they'll keep on switching their product level promotions. They'll keep on switching the time zones. They'll have those flash sales. They'll sort of try to sort of have the portfolio based overall, almost like a product portfolio wise sales, etc. So you can expect definitely the variety effect, which basically means that marketers will be more creative in applying their holiday promotions this year, and definitely much more aggressive as well. We would actually very strongly recommend to all of you a go local strategy on the last 3 days prior to Christmas. So 21st of December to 23rd of December. The reason being, I mean, a lot of people think that 20th or 19th being the last shipping day, even with sort of expedited shipping, and maybe for 14th or 15th being the last shipping day in terms of the standard shipping, they don't really do much after that. But you can actually actively use a go local strategy in the last 3 days. I would very strongly recommend you to have a mobile search marketing plan. There is this concept called geofencing. If you have physical stores, by all means, and go about sort of using the geofencing mode, which is sort of getting coupons to your customers' handsets or smartphones, so that they are prompted to really go into the store. Because there will be a lot of last minute purchases. For you, it is 25%. Similarly, for your customers also, they have 25% less time between Thanksgiving and Christmas. So there will be a higher percentage of last minute sales, which I definitely forecast or predict. Finally, I mean, we have taken a stab at forecasting the year-on-year CPC increase based on our previous experience, the previous historical analysis. As I mentioned that we have been doing this research since 2008. So effectively on all the days which have been marked red, you can expect the cost per click on Google AdWords and Bing to increase by more than 50%. Intense competition. All the days marked in orange, you can expect the CPC to go up by at least 30%. And all the days marked in yellow by 25% or more. So be very sort of conscious of this fact, because and I'm not sort of trying to warn you or anything, but I'm just sort of trying to sort of caution you that this would be a very brutally competitive holiday season. So be prepared. Let me move on to the third part of execution, which is tracking performance against daily targets. So again, a very simplistic calendar. Everyone can really sort of follow this. You have a holiday goal, very specifically from the GOST format that we discussed initially. Come up and very specifically mention your revenue, and R by C is just an example, revenue by cost. Some people may use A by S, some people may use ROAS, etc. Mention your holiday goals. Use the holiday calendars and establish custom checkpoints to measure cumulative deviations. When I say cumulative deviations is, I would actually recommend probably in the initial phase, probably to have those 5-day checkpoints almost. Like you had planned for probably a $500,000 sales in these 5 days at an A by S or R by C of X. What exactly is the number at the end of 5 days? But I would actually very strongly recommend, specifically during some critical days of the year, which have been highlighted in red, using almost like a daily process, or maybe once in 2 days, do an aggregate thing. The reason I am saying this is because if you really fall behind your target substantially, like more than 25% or 30% on a Black Friday or Cyber Monday, I can almost like guarantee you that you may not be able to sort of make up for that deficit despite your best efforts later. And I have a very specific plan B thing which I'll sort of discuss with you as well. Now, in terms of the checklist, what all should you really track? Some of the basic numbers, and again, this would be customized from retailer to retailer, is write down the date, that is column 1. Then in column 2, you have the daily revenue goals. What exactly was your daily revenue goal on 20th of November, 21st of November, etc.? What was the actual revenue that you really hit? And then really identify what is the deviation that you have, which is the revenue goal minus the actuals. That is something which you should track actively, and do the same thing for the spends as well. So daily spend target, the actual spend, and deviation with the target. The third and the fourth piece, basically, of the SEAL model, as we call it, is adapt and learn. Now, some of you may be sort of interested as to why is learn not really preceding adapt. Well, there is a point to that. Honestly speaking, during holidays, you do not really have the time to learn and then adapt. You have to adapt and then learn. It's almost like first shoot and then sort of understand as to whether it worked or not. It's a funny situation, but holidays are crazy times. So use the channel efficiency dashboard, which I'll sort of present in the next slide, to measure performance at a channel level. Have a plan B in place. Very, very important. If there was one thing which 99% of retailers do not do, is they do not have a strong plan B in place. Best of your plans go wrong all the time. Please have a plan B in place. The third part is the A, which is analyze, gain insights, learn, and very important, document learnings. So the channel efficiency dashboard, again, seems fairly complex, but it is not. So on the left side in blue, you have basically channel-wise the basic key metrics, the fundamental metrics like unique visitors, orders, revenue, and cost. On the right side, you have KPIs, the key performance indicators, those indicators which will sort of tell you if you are really moving in the right direction or not. So things like ROAS, the revenue per order, which is the average order value also in many cases, the orders per unique visitor, which is the conversion rate, and you have percentage revenue new visitor versus total revenue. How to use the channel efficiency dashboard? You basically have to set baseline numbers for KPIs and key metrics. So what exactly is your baseline? And you have to also like automatically sort of code it. You can use macros to do this fairly easily. Plus 10% baseline is called a star channel or a group, and it is highlighted in green. If you have 10% to minus 9.99% is probably an aspirant, the next level. And if the deviation is less than 10%, so you're just sort of getting to probably about 90% or lesser from the baseline compared to the baseline, it becomes a laggard. So this is a very useful, a very visually intuitive way of really keeping track of your performances at a channel level. Plan B, again an interesting sort of a chart. Effectively, let me explain you the concept. So when exactly do you make the switch? When do you know that it is time for you to activate Plan B? So effectively, we have tried to break it down on a calendar basis. So if your aggregate deviation from the set targets, when I say aggregate deviation, I'm basically referring to the deviations which I mentioned here, the revenue deviations primarily, not as much the cost, because you want to maximize the revenues during holidays, is more than 25% if measured before 11/30. 30th of November and before, if your aggregate deviation from the target is 25% plus, that's the time for you to really sort of activate Plan B. If it is measured between 1st of December and 10th of December and between 15 to 25%, activate Plan B, because you don't really have too much of a time or as much time as you had probably earlier to make up for the deficit. And if it is between 11th of December to 16th December, again it sort of varies from category to category. I would say you have to activate Plan B if the deviation is more than 10%. And this should be 15%, there is a typo here. So it's like 10 to 15% if measured between 11th December and 16th December. So what do you do? What is Plan B? So when you say Plan B, basically, you have to really relook at the product mix. You had expected probably a certain variety of shoes to sell a lot, but it is not selling. So you can't really keep on sort of focusing and investing all your dollars there. It is not working for you. So relook at the product mix. The promotions, you have probably sort of planned a certain promotional mix. It is not working. Your promotions have fallen flat. Everyone is offering a free shipping beyond $49. So what's great about your promotion? Nothing. So relook at the promotion, because if a promotion which doesn't have an effect is, honestly speaking, a waste of money. And the last part is make a choice. You want to focus at that stage on revenue or R by C. So you may have to be a little more accommodative with your R by C, because you may not really get that profitability number, but get the revenues in. Very important. So the last part of the SEAL model is learn and document. And I have used the standard marketing Philip Kotler's 4P model. Product mix, what sold and why. What did not sell and why. Promotions use, measure impact. Has the promotion been impactful? Assess the time value. If a free shipping promotion was launched probably on the 25th of November, would it have a higher value compared to if it was launched on the 15th of December? Pricing strategy, use that margin versus elasticity. I mean, how much can you really stretch? Should you really go ahead and discount on all the products, or should you discount on only a handful of products? What is the logic? What is the rationale behind that? Compare always versus competitors. There are some great tools. In fact, I mean, we have LXR Marketplace, which offers a free competitive website analysis tool. I mean, use that. You'll be able to sort of get an email every day to your mailbox, which tells you what is your competitor doing. A lot of people don't really have the time to track competition. So a simple tool as the competitor website analysis tool on our LXR Marketplace site can help. Understand the channel-wise contribution and understand the cross-channel interactions. Very important. So at the end of it, my last slide before I hand over to Marin is apply the SEAL model to maximize SEM sales. So when I say SEAL, S stands for strategize, E for execute, A for adapt, and L for learn. I wish all of you a wonderful holiday SEM sales, and I'll sort of hand back to Marin. We are at 2:27. I reckon that this has been a very intense, knowledge-intense sort of a session. So even if we have to extend by 5 minutes to answer some of your questions, we are happy to do that. Marin, back to you.
Thank you, Dan. So we appreciate you joining us today, and to request NetElixir's holiday marketing calendar template, you can tweet at NetElixir, or you can email me directly, marin@netelixir.com. And also, we would appreciate if you would spread the love and tweet about our webinar with hashtag NetElixirU. And also, about 21,000 small businesses from 171 countries have benefited from our free SEO tools and SEM tools at lxrmarketplace.com. Have you checked it out yet? Udain did mention it today. There's a lot of great tools on there. We highly recommend going there and trying it for yourself. Also, a special gift that we wanted to give to all of our attendees from NetElixir University is a do-it-yourself AdWords audit tool that you can use and conduct your own free 6-point audit of your AdWords account. It's very easy to use. It only takes a few minutes at netelixir.com/aoa.html. Also, we're going to take a few minutes. If anyone has any questions, we'd like to open it up right now, and see if anyone has any inquiries. Let's go ahead and pull this open. Okay, let's see here. All right, Dan. First question is, in your slide on making the switch to Plan B, can the trigger points vary from category to category?
That's actually a great question, Marin. So trigger points can vary from category to category, and let me just sort of go back to the slide that we shared with you. So effectively, I mean, is my understanding right that you're mentioning that this target is 25%, etc.? That's what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, that absolutely can vary from category to category. In certain cases, the category is such that there is a lot of last-minute sales. So in that case, probably this concept of these numbers or trigger points would not really be applicable. In other cases, where there probably is a very long sales cycle, and that probably may even become a little more stringent. So if maybe that number may sort of become about 20% right if measured before 11:30. So yes, to answer your question, it can absolutely vary from category to category.
Okay. Oh, and Your next question. Okay, so, all right, here. Why is this holiday season, why is there less time that they have before, you know, to make those sales? Why is there less time this year versus other years, since 2002?
Sid, this actually in 2002, the Thanksgiving was on the 28th of November. And in this year, basically 2013, we have had, again, Thanksgiving in basically the same date, which is November 28th. So as you really see, there is typically a loss of 1 week in the runway to the holidays. So that's, I think, one of the reasons why it becomes a little bit of a stretch, and people have to really sort of plan in advance how to really maximize the holiday sales. In 2008, the Thanksgiving was on November 27th, so we had 1 extra day. But 2008, as we all know, was almost like a, for a lack of a better word, a hell year. It was almost like the start of the recession. So that holiday was quite crazy for all the wrong reasons. We are very confident, given all the trends and all the overall uptrends, etc., that we are sort of seeing so far, that this promises to be the biggest retail holiday season ever. So that's the reason people need to be a little more prepared, because it's a shorter runway just given the dates, how it is. Okay.
All right, sounds great. Okay, so we're going to wrap up today's webinar now, but for any additional questions, feel free to email me directly, marin@netelixir.com, and also for the holiday template we've reviewed. And as we said, we appreciate your time today. Check out our, do-it-yourself audit, and have a great holiday season. Thank you so much, and enjoy your weekend.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
Take care. Bye-bye.